Hi, Sarah. So for not knowing how to lunge, you're doing an amazing job. You got the pole set up right. You're doing everything great with your horse. So what I would do is when you come in, I would just walk them over the poles first, a couple of times. And then I would just go to trotting because the trotting's going to help his gait a lot. And what I would do is trot maybe about 3 minutes each direction. And then in time, after a couple more weeks, you could trot them 5 minutes each direction. After you do that, on the days you're not going to ride him, you're just going to work him from the ground. Then I would practice his flat walk in here. So I would do the walking slow, the trotting, then I would go to the flat walk. And his flat walk is just a fast walk or like a regular horse's extended walk. So let me start this to see if you got any times where he was doing it. But he's so much better. It just, even his body and the way he's moving, it looks awesome compared to what it was. So right here, this is just a regular trail walk. So again, you want to do that in the beginning, and then you can actually say trot to him when you want him to trot. But the poles are working. They really are helping to separate his legs, because when the poles aren't there and you're riding him, I can see how he starts swinging his legs together again more for the pace. So this is going to build up his strength. It's going to help his hindquarter, his abdomen, and his back, and it will help separate those legs, and it will help strengthen around his stifles as well. So right there, he got almost up to a flat walk, so he's got to be a little bit faster. Right there is more of a flat walk. So think of asking him to walk as fast as he can, but if he starts to trot, wiggle your rope and tell him walk again, or you can say flat walk. So there he goes to trotting, and he has a very pretty trot, but that trot is going to help to square up his gait. So I'm going to go a little bit more forward so I can see if you got him walking fast at all. Okay, this is much better. That's going more towards your flat walk. He slowed down right there, but when you were up here, he was walking faster. Let me see if you ask him again. So I can't tell if you have a lunge whip or not. Oh, yes, you do. So I would just keep waving it. There's more towards his flat walk. So it's kind of a rhythm with his feet hitting the ground, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's got to go a little bit faster than he is. And you might have to keep waving that lunge line like towards him, or you might have to fling the whip part of it kind of towards him to keep him going. If you can't, then shorten up the rope and start walking a little bit more, and that way you can be closer to him to help get him going more. So this is just your trail walk. Now I'm going to see if I can see if you got him walking faster this direction. So that's getting closer to a flat walk, but he still needs just a little bit more speed. Right there is a better speed, okay? So just keep walking on trying to make him walk as fast as you can make him go. But then if he starts trotting, then you just wiggle that rope and slow him back down. And again, time it and make him do it for 3 minutes. And then after a couple of weeks, you could go up to 5 minutes of the flat walking. But since he's a baby, we don't want to overdo it in the beginning. But that's closer. That's much closer to a flat walk. And that was a good time to stop and reward. By flat walking him over these poles, again, it'll help separate those legs. So in time, you won't need the poles anymore. But he does right now just because he's gotten so pacey. Right, there's your flat walk. That was good. So when he flat walks, you're going to see his head shake. And so if you were trying to flat walk and he just started trotting off, you would just wiggle the rope, tell him to walk, and then ask him to speed up again. The hardest part is trying to get them to walk fast, but not allowing them to trot, okay? So again, what I would do is get your walk down, just your trail walk a couple times around, then trot them for a couple minutes each direction, then work on your flat walk, okay? And when you're working on the flat walk, don't let him trot anymore. Anytime he goes faster, but he starts trotting, slow him down and ask him to walk faster again. And that's how we're going to build up his strength in his flat walk, which will help when he's carrying you as well. But you're almost there. He almost has it. And I'll attach videos where we're doing the flat walk with a horse. the video I attached, the horse will have a surcingle on and side reins. I don't think your horse needs that because he's carrying his head pretty good and he's not throwing his head way up and he's not getting real pacey in between the poles. So you could do it without the surcingle and the side rein. So here you got your arena set up with all sorts of poles. So I'm very impressed. You're doing a great job. So I would come in, and when you come in, I would just do his regular trail walk, which is what he is doing, for a couple minutes around. You can go over the poles, you can make patterns, you can make circles, you can do leg yield and all of that, and just to help him warm up. His headset is much better, so now it's not too low. It actually looks very good, and he looks like he's doing really well with this bit. Okay, so you're starting to come across the screen. So the speed he's going right here isn't bad, but it's still a trail walk. But you'll see him shaking his head up and down, and his legs are actually separated. So his flat walk is going to be a little bit faster than this. So again, you want to warm up a fair amount, do the trail walk, which is what you're doing, and that's what you're going to do patterns with. And then after that, when you go to do the flat walk, I would stay around your circle of poles, or, you know, use the poles over here and then have more poles over here. So you just keep him going over it as you're going to your flat walk, just to help separate his legs so he knows what you want him to do. But you're riding well, everything looks quite good. And again, his headset is much better compared to the previous video. Now, as you get up here, you start to pick up a little bit more speed, and that's much closer to his flat walk. So that's pretty good. But as you do go downhill, I know you said it goes downhill there, you'll see his legs trying to move together more towards a pace. So keep the poles, you know, places when you're going downhill that you can walk over the poles so he doesn't pace at all. But this is much better than the last video. I'm just pointing things out. So this again is just your trail walk. That's not a flat walk. Okay, but it's just going to feel like a regular horse's slow walk when he's doing his trail walk. Now here, it's just a tiny bit faster, but not much. So that is not his flat walk yet. You start coming across the screen, and right about here, that's your flat walk. Then he kind of loses it. So he looks like he's going to have a great flat walk. You're just going to have to ask him to move out a little bit more with more energy. And you might have to carry a dressage whip just to kind of tap him if he's ignoring your leg. But he has it. He does have the talent. So the hardest part when people are new to gaited horses is knowing the speed to go and what speed to work at, and then to keep that speed. So as you start coming across, he does start doing his flat walk. I saw it before and then I rewinded it right about there. Okay. And he's doing it really well. And then he starts to slow down again. So what you're going to try and do is, when you're working at that flat walk, is try to keep that speed and don't let him slow down. And then, you know, stop and rest him when he's walking pretty good and he's shaking his head and you feel a little back and forth motion. Now here you start going over the poles and you're doing that really well. All I would try to do is just keep him bent a little bit more to the inside. So a little bit more left rein and left leg as you're going around. Kind of squeeze and release on that left rein, which is your inside rein. And as you do that, dig a little bit with that left leg. And you're just trying to get him to arc his body a little bit more, because that will also help to separate his legs. Okay. But when you work at the flat walk, you could just stay over these poles the entire time and do it for 3 minutes, but you're going to try to walk much faster than he's walking right now. Again, you want the rhythm. Right now, the rhythm is kind of 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's his feet hitting the ground. It's just kind of slow because he's doing his trail walk. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want him walking faster, so it's more 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And again, it's fine to do at the trail walk. But again, we want to start working towards that flat walk. And then I would time it. And in the beginning, I would do 3 minutes this direction, then 3 minutes the other direction. And then that's all I would do. And then, you know, stay at 3 minutes each direction of the flat walk for a couple of weeks. And then you can go up to 5 minutes each direction. And I wouldn't even try to get him to foxtrot yet, because he's not ready. We got to get the flat walk down first. So here you're going around the poles the other direction. and it looks good, but same thing, I would just bend him just a little bit more off of your right rein and right leg, because now that's the inside. So think of squeezing and relaxing on that right rein, and every time you squeeze on that rein, you want to press a little bit with your right leg, and then you release both. So it'd be like you squeeze your right rein at the same exact time you dig a little bit with that right leg, then you release. Then you squeeze again, right rein and right leg, then you release. So you're trying to get that horse to make his body more into a curve, which will help separate his legs more, and it will help him to balance you better. And I think you got him bending a little bit, but I think we can get him bending a little bit better. So here his headset looks good, and he's just at a trail walk. Now here you're closer to a flat walk. You're almost there. There you are. So see his head shaking up and down? We just need a tiny bit more speed, just 1 mile per hour faster, and you would have it. Compared to before, this is much better. I'd just be careful his head doesn't get any lower than that. Now it seems every time you are up in this part of the screen, he tends to walk a little bit faster. And that is so close to your flat walk, just a tiny bit faster, not much, just a little bit more. Okay, so this is the part you come in and you try to get him to go faster, like into his foxtrot, and you tilt yourself forward and you do everything you're supposed to do, except he goes past it and then he goes to the pace. Again, he's not ready to foxtrot. We got to get that flat walk consistent down first before he can do it. And then when we do go to do it, we're going to bring his head down a little bit more and try to round his back out to help him and do it over poles. Because you're doing it without the poles and he's just going back to what he knows, which is pacing. So we got to get the muscle development and help him to figure it out. But you do, as you come across the screen in the beginning, you do get your flat walk and then you just go right past it. So you start going about here. That's your flat walk right there. There. Now you're past it. So he went like 2 gates further, okay? And I think he probably has a running walk in there too, but you kind of blew back past both of those, and then he just went to pacing here, okay? So he's just not ready to do that, and we want to do it over poles when we do try, but not yet. I would wait at least another month before we do the foxtrot, but I would be working on your flat walk now. So, and again with him, you can tilt forward to help him to try to get his gait. That's your flat walk right there. Then he slows down again. But you had it. We just got to keep that speed consistent and start working him at it so he can get much stronger with it. And then as you're making these circles, you're kind of leading him around it. You're using more of an open rein. I'd use a little bit more of a direct rein, so have your hand coming more towards your hip instead of leading out, because as you're leading him out, then he kind of falls in and doesn't bend. Think of bringing that hand towards your hip, and I'll send you a video on that. And then doing exactly what I said about squeezing and releasing on the rein, but as you do that, to be digging with your leg at that same time. But you are doing so much better. You're very close at getting his first gait, which is the flat walk, and I'm going to pause it for a minute so I can talk. So again, what I would do for your arena is come in, work at the trail walk, do all your circles, and try to teach him to leg yield, you know, any of the things you think you can do, and do that for the first, 10 minutes of coming in the arena. Then go over to your circle of poles, and you're going to do your flat walk and time it for 3 minutes. You're going to try to get him to walk as fast as he can, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's his feet hitting the ground 4 times. Try to keep that rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if he won't move off your leg to keep it enough, carry a stick so you can wave it. A dressage whip usually works the best to have him going forward over that. So that'll get your flat walk. The poles will help to keep him from pacing, and this is all going to build up his strength. So do it 3 minutes one direction, take a little break, do it 3 minutes the other direction. And again, do that for the next couple of weeks, like 2-3 weeks, and then go up to 5 minutes each direction. And then if you can show me that, so I make sure you're going the correct speed. Once we can get his flat walk and we can do it well over poles and he can keep it and not pace, then in time we can skip over some poles or start doing it without the poles. But we don't want to do that yet because he's not ready for it. But I'm just trying to give you the stages so you understand where we're going with this. So he has to have that flat walk really well. And then once we get away from the poles, he has to be able to do it all the way around the arena, keeping that consistent speed. Once we get that, then we know we can start working towards the next gate. But he's not there right yet, and either are you. So if you try to go faster and rush it, he's going to go back to pacing, or he might go to trotting. And we want to make sure that he understands and you understand before we start pushing for speed. It's hard because everybody wants to go faster, but with these gaited horses, when you have the babies, you really got to build up their strength and consistency before you start going for that speed if you want to end up with a really nicely gaited horse. So again, instead of doing, speed, work on circles and patterns, teaching the horse to leg yield, to do serpentines, and you can do shoulder in and hind quarter in and all those things, and then just work on his flat walk first, okay? But I'll send you a video of a foxtrot I'm working with so you can see that horse's flat walk, and then you'll see his foxtrot. Your foxtrot, once we get it, it's just going to feel like a regular horse's jog, because I know you asked if you should go ride a foxtrotter. You could if you know there's one that actually is foxtrotting well, but some people have foxtrotters and they're doing a saddle gait. And so, it would feel different. So the foxtrot actually has a soft bounce to it, and you can't really post to it, and you won't get any air between the saddle and you like you do with a regular trot. But I'll help you figure out that feel. Again, if you find a horse that you can go test ride, that would be great, but videotape it so I can tell you if it's really doing a foxtrot or not. But you're getting there. I'm going to send you some more videos for more guidance, and then you let me know if you have any questions. But again, I think you've done really well in the short period of time, and you being a newbie, you're doing phenomenal. You're going to get this. I can tell because you've already sent me another video and you've been working on it, and it already looks so much better.